You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Howdy, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the 2025 Dragon Con Report. We are well past the halfway point to Dragon Con 2025. I'm your host, Mike Gordon, and I'm pleased to introduce you to the rest of our station crew, which is just Channing this week, this month. Channing, we're here. And much like we had to do last year at one point, we're kind of on our own. So
yeah. We are a rudderless ship. It's gonna be a fun one.
Absolutely. Jen is unable to join us this month. We wish her a speedy recovery. We hope she's resting well, because damn, we need her. But things are going to go smoothly, I hope, right? As smoothly as possible.
Oh yeah.
So we've got a great show lined up for you anyway. So it's a bummer that she's going to miss it. But yes, we do wish her the best of health. And so yes, sorry for all you listening and watching, because the stream was late today, because yes, right. We are jumping through hoops and sort of learning on the fly. There's a lot of buttons and switches here in the behind the scenes in the control room.
Who would have thought? Yeah, who would have thought?
Absolutely. So anyway, in addition to the news and notes, we are going to also be talking all about the Glamour Geek Revue, the Dragon Con Burlesque, and we've got Mayhemmer joining us later to talk all about it. We had her on briefly at the beginning, or sort of at the beginning, right before last year, right?
I thought it was toward the end.
Yeah, right before Con, I think she joined us, and that was so much fun. But we barely scratched the surface, I felt like, with what goes into that production, and it'd be really interesting to get into the nuts and bolts of it here, I think. So we are glad to have her with us. Before we go any further, let me get rid of some business at hand. The Dragon Con Report is an unofficial podcast of the con. We are not and never have been officially connected with Dragon Con. For all official news, we strongly recommend checking out the official site and social media outlets. We are a proud member of the ESO Network. On the esonetwork.com page, there's a direct link to our TeePublic store filled with all kinds of cool swag, including a very cool design for the Dragon Con Report podcast. The ESO Network also has a Patreon page where supporters can access our exclusive readings of this month's Dragon Con guest announcements. You can get all the latest guest announcements and hear them in their glory.
Glory is one word for it.
try to pronounce all of the names and accomplishments of everybody who's going to join us at Dragon Con this year. So thank you, patrons, for all your support. We really do appreciate you guys.
Yes.
In addition to the video stream that you're watching right now, an audio version of our show is still available at all the usual podcast places. You can always access all our past episodes over the last 13 seasons, 14 now we're doing this year. You can access all of that information, all those past episodes at dragonconreport.com. And however you watch our show, listen to our show, access our show, please like, subscribe, share. We appreciate you guys so much for putting up with all of our nonsense.
yes, of which there will probably be a little bit more than usual today.
A little bit more than usual. So,
just ever so slightly.
And if you would like to leave Jen direct feedback on how we did, please feel free to email her at feedback@dragonconreport.com. It's sort of like the rating system in the app.
Oh dear Lord.
How many stars we're going to get, right?
Hashtag bring back Jen. Get it trending.
Absolutely. So now some quick news and notes. Not a lot of huge news this month for Dragon Con, but we do want to let you know, of course, Dragon Con is happening this year, August 28th to September 1st. Currently, 5-day membership prices are $160. Those went up last month. The next rate increase is scheduled for June 13th. So you got about a month to lock them in at $160, which I still feel is a bargain. Now, as far as most of the applications for participating have closed. The only exceptions right now are guest and attending pro applications. Those will be open till the end of May. So you have about a month to get those in if you want to participate in Dragon Con as a guest or attending pro. I think most of the other applications, performer, they extended the performer. Did you see that?
I saw they extended the performer, and I tried to blast it out to as many people as I can. I don't think we're going to get Beyonce, but you can't say I didn't try.
Okay. I thought you were going to say that you were suggesting that you were going to actually submit your stuff.
Oh, the world is not ready for my voice. Not. They're not. I think I'd have a better chance of being a burlesque performer than I have of being a singer, and I have no chance of being a singer. So
we'll let May make that decision later. So I think the mongoose might stand a better chance.
Yes, this is very true. This is very true. He's still away and he's training.
He's a little bit more athletically gifted than either of us, actually.
Yes, that's a little bit. Mongoose, we don't know if he's gonna make it, but Dragon Con, we do know they're welcoming Dragon Award winning author T. Kingfisher to Dragon Con 2025 as the literary guest of honor. T. Kingfisher, aka Ursula Vernon, is the author of more than 40 books and comics and the occasional podcast. Her work has won Hugo, Locus, Nebula, and Dragon Awards. So it's going to be good to see her.
Yeah, she's got quite the resume. So yes. Very well earned. So it should be great to have her there. DragonCon is just getting started, really announcing people. Yes. Usually they start with the guests of honor.
Correct.
And so we've got the first guest of honor announced. I imagine an art guest of honor is coming pretty soon. And then, celebrities will start, they'll be starting announce celebrity guests, I would think.
Yeah.
So, and performers as well.
Yes.
So look for that pretty soon. And of course, we will butcher all those names.
Can't wait.
The exclusive reading that you can get if you're a member of the Patreon.
In the most respectful way possible, we will butcher those names.
Absolutely.
Yes.
There is, I think, currently less than 1 week to audition for the Subspace Rhapsody picture show. You don't have to be an experienced actor or singer to try out. Everyone is welcome. So if you want to get your Subspace Rhapsody on, contact. We've got normally I would just put the banner up here so that we could have a link, but I think Channing's working on posting it in the chat.
That is correct.
So the auditions are still open through April 30th at 9 p.m. Eastern is what I've been told here. So they still have a lot of roles available, and newbies are most welcome. So if you need more information from that, just let us know. We've got the form, and you can also reach out to Sarah Rose. So, because I think she is the one handling all of that, like she did last year. Awesome.
That is correct. It's a fun, non-judgmental crowd.
Yes.
So we like that. And on that same note, all my artsy folks, we want to see you on the festoon walls of the classics tracks as the banners this year. And then afterwards, the banners will go up for sale for the Dragon Con charity all weekend. The only rule is the words American Sci-Fi Classics must appear somewhere on the poster, and have fun with it. So you can do an 80s, 90s, 2000s, 70s theme, maybe a TV show or movie. And these are the banners and posters that hang on the wall during the classic track programming. So, be creative, show off your fun side, and show them what you got.
Yes, absolutely. I had the honor of producing artwork for a banner a number of years ago, and I just did it basically in the font of the 80s Flash Gordon movie.
Ooh, very nice.
So, because I'm a Gordon, we own that font, and so so we have to we can license it out on occasion. So,
I think so.
And that's and the great thing about it is I don't think they throw their banners away because the room is full of the banners of banners past, and then they always have the most recent one right behind the panelists, so that when you have the pictures of the panelists or the videos or whatever, you get to see that banner. So it's a pretty cool feeling having your banner there, having it accepted like that. So
and it's another way to be a part of Dragon Con.
Yes. Absolutely. Yes. And all the tracks, as far as I know, most of them are still looking for volunteers. All departments are looking for volunteers. So there's still a lot of ways you can participate in Dragon Con this year. So don't give up if you haven't been accepted as a guest or anything like that. There's still a lot of ways you can participate and take part. And we encourage you to do so. But if you have if you need more information about the banner issue, submission, check out Joe and Gary at the American Sci-Fi Classics track. They have a great Facebook group. If you go there, you will have a lot of fun. I guarantee it.
Yes.
So that's all the news, really. So I know, it's a great time for, Jen to take a break because we didn't have really a lot of news. So, and not a lot to talk about, which is, sometimes no news is good news. So,
correct.
Especially, with this year.
Yes. No comment on that one, but yeah.
The way this year's been going.
Yes.
So, all right. So for the people who are listening, we're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we will talk all about the Glamour Geek Revue. Three, two, one, and here we go. And we're back, and we're here with May Hammer. May,
Woo!
Welcome back.
Thanks. I know I sound like Tony Braxton, but I'm really excited.
Hey, that's not a bad thing, right?
That is not.
No, it's not. Just don't ask me to sing. I heard this about singing, and trust me, I can't sing either, and it's even worse like this.
I was gonna ask you to hit us with a quick "Unbreak My Heart," but you know what? I'm sure it'll be we get a copyright strike.
You sure you want me to do that? But I think that's a copyright thing, like you said.
Right.
Yeah, that's
Tony Braxton will show up at your door.
Be like, girl, where my money?
Oh, well, we are glad to have you back. We had you on last year to talk about the Glamour Geek Revue of 2024. I guess before we get too deep into things, how did last year go?
Last year went great. Honestly, I think, oh gosh, I don't know where to begin. So when I sent out applications, we had a very, very large amount, which was very hard to narrow down. But the acts that we did select, just like the others, were amazing. Some just stood out a little more than the others. But the crowd loved it. Like the crowd loved the show. We had so many different fandoms that we were touching on, which is pretty much our goal. So I want to call it again, a great success.
Yes.
Awesome. Were there any particular special moments that happened?
Oh gosh. It's kind of hard for me to pick because honestly, every show has its own special little things that happen. I know one of my kittens, it was her birthday. So we got to sing happy birthday to her at the show. I think my co-MC and we always tend to like do a couples cosplay to MC. And do either one of you know who Ghost is, like the singer?
Yes, absolutely.
So she dressed up as Ghost, but kind of femme, but I was one of the Sisters of Sin. So I like had my like super like naughty nurse out. I mean, not nurse, nun. That's actually an act that I do. So we just like wore that, and then she has like the whole face paint and everything too. So like that was really funny. The way we opened it may have been low key sacrilegious because of that character.
Yeah. You cross that bridge when you get to it,
That part. No complaints yet.
Is that something that you have to think about when you're putting together a program of this nature? Are there, and you don't have to get into the weeds of it because I'm sure some of it's proprietary knowledge, but does Dragon Con have a set of things like you can and cannot do?
Describe can and cannot do.
Well, I mean, in terms of like, just the things like, these are things like, do they have any sort of rules or do they trust you to your own devices there?
Are there any sacred cows? I think that's what Mike's trying to get to. Anything
if
that's untouchable.
Sacrifices that I need, there are no sacrifices required.
Okay.
We have honored our Lord and Savior Cthulhu. So I'm kidding. So no, I pretty much have my freedom to produce, and they trust me with picking the show and putting everything together. Obviously I have a time slot to fill.
Yeah.
The end.
And this is your second year producing?
Oh God.
Or third?
this is my third.
Third? Okay.
22, 23, 24. No, this is gonna be my fourth.
Fourth.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think it officially got passed over because it was supposed to be in 2020 hindsight. So in 2021, Tallulah and I made the announcement. So I took it over in 2022. So this will be since I count 2, 3, 4, it'll be can I even count? 22, 23, 24. Yeah, it'll be my fourth year. I promise I'm awake.
Not a problem. Not a problem. I just wonder, so to most of the events too. I mean, I've not heard of Dragon Con ever coming down and saying, don't do this or anything like that. It's mostly like if something happens, then afterwards they're like, yeah, you shouldn't do that.
Shouldn't do that.
Like again.
Yeah. I mean, like there's expectations obviously that, are set in the sense of, like of course the local laws when it comes to burlesque and things like that. Obviously that is
Yeah.
something we have to adhere to, but that's anything that comes with
Yeah.
a burlesque show. Making sure essentially in my case, my thing is to make sure my performers are respectful to everybody. That includes staff, backstage, tech, any of security.
Mhm.
Non-negotiable. But one thing they did ask us to make sure that the show is how do I want to put it? The show is experience leveled. So obviously, I still want a polished act, but it could be somebody that's done it for 2 years, or it could be somebody that's done for 20 years. So as long as, in my opinion, as long as it's a polished act, awesome. But they want to make sure there's different,
Yeah.
experiences. Now, my own personal goal, which obviously they fully support, is to make the show as diverse as humanly possible. So I have made it a prerogative that as long as I can, and I plan on for a long time, that every one of my headliners will be a person of color. And then going for that, the show itself, I plan on having, as many genders, ethnicities, body sizes, stuff like that,
Mhm.
that I can. And I do like to put out there, I aim to do that, but I also am not going to tokenize people. And I think there's some misunderstanding about that I'm not going to just pick you because I'm trying to fill a slot. I'm
Mhm.
picking a person because of the talent and the things that they bring to the stage, and I try to make sure I'm cognizant of wanting to diversity, but I'm also not going to just pick somebody because they fit that
Yeah.
token slot.
Yeah.
So but that's all they really, think is to make sure it's diverse, and I have my own level of standards obviously of diverse that they support.
Yeah. And
That's awesome.
I think that kind of ties into just burlesque in general. I mean, burlesque
Yes.
has always been a celebration of different body types
Hmm.
and different personalities and different types of people. For people who aren't familiar, can you just kind of give a little what burlesque is, what it is, and kind of give them burlesque 101.
Oh, let me pull up my PowerPoint. No, so burlesque is the art of the striptease. It's kind of like back in the day, burlesque was even a form during Greco-Roman days. It was not just about the striptease, it was about a farce. It's about making a statement, expressing yourself. So, of course, our foremothers before us, they were trying to make a statement about body autonomy. Like they can be sexy, despite, the rules and regulations against femmes back in that day. Um, so, like, for instance, some of us like to make political statements with acts or make social norm statements or push against stereotypes when it comes to burlesque. With nerdlesque, it can be a mix of both. You
Mm-hmm.
know, hi, I like this character. I brought this out, aspect. But if it's pertaining to today's topics and the like, you can do that at the same time. You know, I know people that have done the act, um,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not an act, but like A Handmaid's Tale. I'm gonna get controversial. They enjoy the show, but it's topical. So, some people might have nerdy ass that has aspects because the nerds aren't just about comic books and anime. It can be TV, it can be movie. It's all a fandom.
Yeah.
Um, but it's that type of art that you can respect, even as old as it is. It may have always been about dance, but it's always been about making a statement and, making things less I don't want to say hardcore, but to bring attention to things and kind of give it a light sense to it.
Yeah.
How did you get first involved with the burlesque scene?
Let's see. That was 13 years ago. I'm not gonna tell on myself. Do not ask my
I think
age.
we're still streaming
No.
live.
I was like, don't
I
ask my age.
think if I look at the dials and switches.
No. Anyway, so all jokes aside, I had been a cosplayer and still am for quite some time. And I did ballet for a very long time, and then I blew out I did track, and then I blew out one knee, and then I blew out my other knee. So I used to do point. So obviously I couldn't do I can't support my weight like I used to. And so I was like, okay, I think I'm going to do a different style of dance. Why not? And my husband was very supportive. And a friend of mine told me about burlesque. And I was like, oh no, what is this? And so when I found out, all I could think about is my good little Southern Black woman mother of what she would say if she knew that her daughter decided to take her clothes off. So anyway, I went to the class and I enjoyed it. It was teaching more than just that. It was like teaching lines, it's teaching aspects, it's teaching how to do certain things with clothing that is a tease, and making it that because there's classic burlesque, obviously, which is the art of the tease, whereas nerdlesque is still art of a tease. Just make it dorky. But how to make people want it, beg for it. Don't give it to them right away. Make them, want that aspect, and it's your control. It's under your control of how or when you want to do stuff and present things to people. So I did it for a while at the School of Burlesque that was there, and I had my student showcase. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm not going to take anything off because it was an option. And all she asked was, just wear pasties just in case you decide to feel the spirit. And I was like, everything's fine. Anyway, 2 seconds in, I was like, let's go, and that same night I got my first booking, and that's all she wrote. So I had just kept going, and it started with a class, and then it just turned on getting booked at the booked, and then I was accepted into a troupe, which is the Storyville Starlets. And then I ended up being stage manager for Florida Tees in New Orleans. But I still did corporate stuff with them. So I liked being backstage in the big events, like in the theaters, but I still got to do corporate burlesque events and stuff like that. So I just kind of kept going after that. Like even when I was pregnant, I still performed while I was pregnant. So it didn't really, because still people perform pregnant while doing burlesque. It is not unheard of. So that was probably about 14 years ago. I want to say is when I started, and I just kept going after that one class. And I still obviously took things to upper my education, but I just got a booking. I was like, all right, let's go. And I just kept on going.
I mean, it's an art, it's a hobby, it's a passion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it is funny you said, how would your mom feel about you taking off your clothes? But it's important to remind people there's no actual nudity involved.
No, it's just down through bra and pasties.
Yeah.
A lot of places have blue laws where you can't show certain things. As funny as it is, you in some places you can't show your underboob. I'm so serious. So there's a company that's called Blue Lawless, and they make special bras to not see your underboob. To me, that's a little more spicy than just. I mean, you got a shelf going on. I didn't understand it. And then there is something they call the vortex, which is obviously if you wear a thong or something like that. But the underwear has to be a wide strip about this wide down your buttocks, and then it has a thick under part. So literally, it's just the sides of your behind that are hanging out, which once again, make it make sense. I don't, but you know what? It is what it is, but a lot of people, they, work around it. Like they'll just wear a skin tone mesh bra, put the pasties on top of that, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not stripping to the nudies. It's very much pasties and thongs and underwear. Some places, depending on the state, you can wear they call a U-string, which is just the front and back of an underwear. They called them merkins back in the day, which is an old school thing that people can look up on their own. But they call them like You underwear or something like that now. So they're
Use
usually
safe
like,
search, people. Use safe search.
use safe search,
Yeah,
use
yeah,
safe
don't, yeah, you
search.
don't search
Just
at work.
use safe.
Not safe for work.
No.
Yeah, it's not safe for work. Wait till
I don't.
you're home in the privacy of your home to look
I'm
up
not.
what it is and the history of them.
I'm not even sure if this episode is now safe for work. But
Well,
Yes!
because Jen is not here to keep us on the rails. So,
Womp, womp, womp.
yeah,
Put a
yeah.
disclaimer. We were left
Right.
to our own devices. We apologize for
Yeah,
everything.
like I'm sure a lot of men in certain positions spent long and hard about trying to figure out the rules that could be applied to these situations. So who knows what, and I'm sure it's different from county to county, state to state, like everything, right?
Yep. Yep. It
So
varies, which is why it pays to do your homework wherever
yeah.
you
Sure.
perform. Because you
Oh
don't want to
yeah, I
get
would
caught.
imagine. Yeah.
Because the fines that the venue can get fined and you can get fined.
Yeah.
So, there's places they'll fine you up to $5,000 per infraction.
So
Wow.
Yes.
amazing. So like you're making that kind of money. The so yeah, looking at your your social media presence and everything like that, you do a lot of these shows. You don't have a problem getting booked. Seems like you are
I
booked most of the year.
yeah, I have paid my dues, as one might say.
Sure.
And I, like I have two small ones now, and they've reached an age where, where I was in my 20s, early to mid 20s, I was just like doing it for the 99 and the 2000s, like raging, just going to town, always gone to, all right, now I have to pick and choose my battles. Like what is worth my time and what
Yeah.
is worth the stress of leaving home when I could be at home with my
Hmm.
small ones. And I made this I put it out in the universe and into the social media that people thought I was joking, but I am quasi retired. So I can pick what I want when I want. And I'm back to my roots of doing character work and theater stuff, which is why you see me at a lot of Ren fairs and stuff like that, which now also hire me. So it's like I get both sides, which is why I'm booked most of the year. Which is why I tell people you better get me in January, otherwise my calendar is just like gone.
I mean,
But
that's a
yeah,
good
so it's
problem to have, though.
I mean, you'd think so, but I'm knocking on 40's door and I'm feeling it. So I'm really starting to feel it now. So it's I'm slowing down mainly because of my kids. And yeah, so I'm booked, but I try and do both. And as
Yeah.
much as I love that people like to use booked and busy, I'm like booked and de-stressed, booked and
Mm.
I get sleep. Um booked and no drama, like
Yeah. Well.
so but yeah, it's great though, I'm not gonna lie, to be busy, whether it's just emceeing, performing,
Hmm.
producing, everything like that. So it's all facets of burlesque too, not just being in the forefront.
With
Okay.
and I'm glad that with everything that you've got going on and all the projects that you could potentially say no to, I'm glad to see that Dragon Con is one that you still are invested in. What makes Dragon Con either different or stand out among the others for you?
Honestly, I think it's the support from the con chairs and staff and all. They've been so great to work with. And if I have anything, there is no hesitation to find some type of, compromise or way to solve whatever problems might going on. It's just a support system on that. Plus, it's like, we have cons that are great, but I really do feel like a sense of family within those I do work intimately with. Um, and I normally don't get hang out but once a year, and I've made really great friends. I hung out with one of our tech guys, when I was at Atlanta. We all had, he and his wife and I and a bunch of friends of mine went out to dinner and had drinks, so it's not just work. Like I get to know these people, and I
Hmm.
think that's what I like, that even though we respect each other as professionals, we have gotten to the point where we have a special rapport with each other, where there's work and then there's friendship. And that's what I like here, is that they know how to separate the two, of when it's work, and then when it's friendship, it's friendship. There's no hurt feelings or whatnot, when there is an issue that we can't agree on, if we can find a compromise. And that's honestly like what sticks out to me, not just because, all my fandoms are all in one and I can do anything at any time of the night. If I can't sleep, let me go watch a movie or something. But it's the fact that I can reach out and talk to people, and I can reach out and be like, hey, I have this problem. I'm also stressed, get my work done. You might have a glass of wine with me to calm my nerves, so that's what I like. I think it's the support and the sense of family that I actually have at this convention.
Nice.
Yeah, I like it. And thinking about, go ahead, Mike.
Are you thinking about what? What are you thinking about, Jenny?
Oh, no, nothing bad. No, but I am curious because, we're talking about burlesque and nerdlesque. And what are some of the more interesting mashups you've seen? I know we've got a friend in common, Remy D. She's got a Pee Wee Herman themed burlesque act. When I was researching this online, I saw there was a woman. She's a TIE fighter. She does a burlesque act as a TIE fighter. Yeah. Have you seen any other interesting? Where it's like, oh, I would have never thought of that.
Okay, so Lola Le Soleil.
Yeah, love her.
When I first met her, she did a Dalek act from Doctor Who.
Doctor Who?
She did whole Dalek, and I was like, I want to be this woman's friend so bad. Let me see another crazy mashup. Oh goodness, I wouldn't say a mashup, but things I never would have thought. One of our performers this year does Ruby Rod from the Fifth Element.
Oh yeah. Yes, Fifth Element, yeah.
Yes, and then oh my gosh, what's another one? I don't know, like it's weird because I've seen so many Muppets. I've seen so many Muppet acts that make you really question your childhood. I've seen everything from a Sweetums, a Janice, an Oscar.
Not an
Count
Oscar.
the Count has been my favorite one I've seen. I have seen. Oh God, what's another fun one I've seen? I had a
I'm
Mandalorian.
still stuck on the Count.
I'm telling you, let me tell you, when I booked that last year, I was like apex of my personal joy right here of seeing Count the Count.
One pasty.
No, it was like, well, I can't say it here. I'll tell y'all after.
Right.
The song they used was Chef's Kiss. Like Chef's Kiss. Let's see. Oh God, I'm trying to think of like one big one that is just insane. Let's see. I seen a Mandalorian that shoots a money gun because get paid. This happens when I'm going through 14 years of a Rolodex.
Oh, right I'm sure there's plenty to pick
from.
There's
so many, but I'm telling you, the Muppets is what got me. I've seen a lot of Muppet auditions in the past 4 years, 3 years that made me go, that like go figure. But
it's
yeah,
like, oh my God, my childhood.
Right.
And then I go
we can't flash the comments on screen, but Mike W, who you actually know, that was the friend who was with me when we all figured out we were from the same hometown. Yeah, he said was her name Dr. Who is she? Which I actually kind of like that.
I love that. Oh my gosh.
He also says he still has the little dragon that you gave him. It's on his desk.
Glad. Yay.
Yes.
I'm so glad. That makes me happy.
Yes.
So my understanding is that the audition process or the sign up process is closed right now for this year.
So
tell us a little bit about like that process if you can, and do you get overwhelmed with people who want to participate?
So well,
or do you have to, or do you actively seek out people to bring in?
The only person I actively seek out is my headliner. That's it.
Okay.
Everything else is the audition process like you would do any other festival. I have a form, though I'm working on some super secret ways to streamline things. But I do have a form. You fill out, you send in, oh, okay, I see a comment about Fraggle. So, uh, there's a form you fill out with all your information, and you have to send me the entire breakdown of your act and send me a video of the act. And people can submit as many as they like because there's no fee for it. But I still have to judge each act individually. Is it overwhelming? Yes. Have I had to point people to the form? Yes. Has Dragon Con had to point people to the form? Yes. And then let's go into how many people. I think this year I had 180 acts I had to judge.
Ooh,
and yeah, it's not like 20 or 30. This year I had like 180, and I have to narrow that down to 10.
Wow.
I have 10 slots plus my headliner. 10 whole slots. So I have people that help me go through that, and we do like a judging system and stuff like that. And then once we narrow, things down, then we have to narrow it down again. There's points where, we have to then look at the fandoms we've already done and like what fandoms might be covered in this, because we want to make sure that we can at least try and touch everything. Of course, sometimes it happens. There's things where I can't help it because there's acts that stand out so much that I might end up with the same fandom, but it might be two different aspects of it, like two different polarities of it.
Gotcha.
But it's a very long process. We try to get it done as humanly possible. We do try to set realistic deadlines, but sometimes, there's issues with, the video not being set available, like per instruction, hunting people down or something like that. Telling, like it's just some things, there's little errors that we can't help. Like technology. One year I had it merge 2 years of applications and we didn't realize it. So we had 200 things to go through, but then we realized some weren't even from that year, because whenever we imported something, it put 2 years submissions in one Excel sheet. And at the time, it didn't show the date and time of stuff. So I was like, great. And when I found out was when somebody was like, I didn't apply this year. And I was like, wait, what? And so then I started looking and went, oh no.
Yeah. Technology is great when it works.
I love our electronic overlord, but this is how we get Skynet, truly, honestly. I've come to terms with it.
When you're looking at acts, are you primarily featuring new? You want to see something new, some people new, or do you have returning favorites that you can sort of rely on as well?
I wouldn't call them favorites. I don't really pick favorites. I have friends in the industry. They know I don't pick just because we're friends or we've worked together. I want to see a variety. I want to see a different take on things. I want to see, and if you just happen to be a person that has presented something new that I can feel, then I'm going to do it, and do I try and make it like a three-peat? No. Because, after that, I'm like, cool, maybe in a couple of years. But if I can help it, I try not to have duplicates.
Gotcha.
But if it's something that I can't say no to because it's a fandom that's never happened or anything like that, sometimes I just can't help it. I try to avoid it, but sometimes the universe works in mysterious ways and likes to give me a migraine of how to figure out my lineup and everything.
So just so people know right now, to make it clear, applications are closed, right? Like
applications are done. Okay, notifications have been sent out.
Right.
Our performers have been picked. And I do not usually announce them until closer because let's be honest, nobody's really paying attention this early in the game.
Right.
Yeah.
As much as I would like them to. But I'm trying to find the best time to do it where it's not too soon but not too late, and it's kind of like an experiment, so to speak, because I can tell, like, if I post something at a certain time it's getting more traction, whereas if I post something at a different time, so, and I'm also trying that whole algorithm thing, what's the best time of the day to post. I don't have time for that.
Fun.
I got almost a 9 and 11-year-old. I cannot be sitting here on the grams going, okay, wait, But now you can
Right.
schedule stuff. I found out now the Gram will let you schedule posts now, which is new. And I wish I had known that they did this because I would have been doing this way long time ago when it first
They're
came out.
they're trying to play catch up.
Yeah.
Look,
Um,
good.
I know you said you can't reveal anything, and we'll respect that as far as performers, but can you give us one or two words about what we might be able to expect from the performances? You
Oh,
know,
he wants to,
their theme.
Channing's looking for a tease.
Yeah, is there a
Channing's
theme? Yeah, I
fun.
mean, it's burlesque. It's a tease.
It's right. Yeah.
I do have some anime characters that people like to question that are femme.
Okay.
Which this character, the performer knows how to do backflips and everything. Knows how to use said weapons, so that's fun. Another one is a act, which I won't say the character's name, but it's a comic book character that is my baby diary number 475. And when I saw this act, I was like, let me just wait. Let me put my own personal bias aside. Let me just wait. And it was everything that we wanted and more. So that's coming. And I'm trying to think one more thing that sticks out that I can give you another hint to. I'm just gonna say Star Wars. Sexy Star
Okay.
Wars. That's it. That's all I'm
Okay.
gonna say.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Okay.
amazing.
It
I'm
seems to
calling it
be.
now. It's gonna be sexy Jabba the Hutt. That's my prediction.
You know,
I think.
now
I think
that you put that out there,
that.
if there's any burlesque people listening, you have now been giving a challenge. And if I see a sexy Jabba the Hutt, you know what? Hats off to you. I want to see it. Like, just send it in next year. Like, I want to see this happen.
Challenge accepted.
I'm like, done. Let's do this. Like, I want to see it. I want to make this. I want to see this happen. But yeah, no, that's pretty much all I could say. Everything else is like, oh, excuse me, it's like if you're being a sun for 2 days. Everything else is pretty yeah, I mean they're all amazing, but I think that's the easiest ones I can give a hint to without giving too much away. Because if I
No,
say
we
any
like
others,
that.
it's gonna be blatantly obvious.
Yeah. We don't want that. We don't want that.
I mean, and I certainly know that from what I understand, the response is still standing room only. Every time you
hmm
guys put on the show, it's one of the biggest attractions on. You guys are on Sunday, is that correct?
Okay, I need.
Oh no,
Claire, make
wait,
it.
wait! You're on
This
Saturday night
is
at midnight.
yes, and so it gets really confusing
That's right,
because midnight is technically Sunday morning.
right.
But when you say midnight, people are like, "Oh, is it midnight Saturday?" You know what I'm saying? So like I've been
Right.
telling people it's 11:59 p.m. on Saturday.
That's right. That's right. I
That's what
remember we
I've
talked
been
about this
doing.
when you were on the
Yeah.
show last year.
It gets a little confusing, but I make sure to be like it's 11:59 p.m. so that way, they still know it's on Saturday.
Right.
Yeah.
Because even when I first started stage managing under the Tallulah, I was like, "Wait a minute. Is it like Friday night or Saturday night?" And she was like, "It's Saturday night, but it puts midnight." And I was like, "Okay." But obviously the people that are like the veterans, they line up, they start lining up at like 9 or something. Whenever they start lining up, I'm just like, I can't even walk out the door at like tech for us is
Yeah.
at 10 p.m.
hmm
We're out here walking to tech and there's like 10 people already in line. And I mean, I love it. I'm just like, dang, y'all really gonna sit here for how many hours? Y'all got better patience than me. I don't have that type of patience. I'm like,
Oh,
if
if
I
you,
get in, I
yeah.
get in.
No, if you want to get in, you have to. I mean, I've
Mhm.
told you my stories about how for years I tried to get in,
I know
and
you're
like,
like, man.
Mike and I, we would get there sometimes at like 9 o'clock and thinking, okay, this is our year, we get it, and we're lined up outside the Sheridan. By the time we get into the Sheridan lobby, they're like, nope, we're full.
That is wild. Okay, so I've
Yeah.
only seen the line like in our area on the ballroom
hmm
floor, like that immediate area. So I never really know how far down this line ever goes.
It has
All I
rivaled
see is,
some of the old registration lines
are
at
you
Dragon Con.
serious? Oh
Yes.
gosh, I've only seen like, hey guys, welcome, and I go around like, hey, what's happening? And that's all I see.
Mm-mm.
Like I think it's like right there. Oh God, I didn't know it was that
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah, and I think it was fate. I think it was meant to be. The year when I finally got in was the year when they announced you were taking over.
Oh,
And I
snap.
had,
Yay.
yeah, and I had literally been trying to get into Dragon Con Burlesque since like 2010. So
Oh,
that should
gosh.
tell you how long. Yeah. I'm
You're
starting
like,
to think you guys have me on a
finally.
watch list. Yeah. Yeah.
Finally. Oh,
The picture I have, you can see we're on the back row. That is how
yeah.
close we were to making the cut.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Look,
And
I've
I
heard
remember,
some people go, oh, man, bro, like, what's
yeah.
happening?
Yeah, but it was worth it. We were
I
talking
mean,
about
that's
the
all that matters.
crowd. And one thing I noticed, like, it seems like you guys really go out of your way to make sure the crowd isn't just there watching, but they're involved. You know, you've got
Mm.
your what are they? Are they stage ponies that kind of hype
My
people up in
ponies,
between
yes.
sets?
My
Yeah, you've got
ponies,
your
yeah.
ponies. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Is that? Well, I'm sure that's by design, but how much does the crowd play into these performances?
I mean, honestly, sometimes it depends on the performer too.
Hmm.
They might interact more, which is a little harder, obviously, because it's not a floor show. It's a
Hmm.
large stage riser, and you have all these people, so it's kind of impossible to, you know, mess with every person in the audience,
Right.
and so usually the first few rows are the victims for me. Um, and but the ponies do go around. They make sure everybody feels like they're part of the show. And that's my main aspect as an MC, because I want to bring that energy to everybody, even though you may not get, blah 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 right up top. We've done stuff where when we were doing the Hitman Nuns as our co-MC thing, we came from the back, and made our way down the aisle, and then we came up the sides. Um so that's why I am glad for the ponies, because that's just them. Like, that's what they do. They've always done that. That's usually what any of our entertainers do. um and then we kind of give them like little games and stuff like that, and blase blase, where they can give input. So, like, asking these questions or saying, hey, what about this, what about that, makes
Right.
them feel more included. But it's hard to have every single person in such a room that large with that many
Yeah.
attendees, but we try our best as much as we can within that space. That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I was on that back row, and even the people around me, we were all just as excited. Again, probably because we were just able to get in. But no, we
Hmm.
we definitely enjoyed the show from even where we could saw it right up until the end. So
Love
yeah,
that.
good job on that. And I will say it is
Thank you.
still one of the. I think I've only seen armed guards at maybe two or three Dragon Con events, and Burlesque is one of them. So
Oh,
I guess
wow.
that no, it's true. It was there, and it's when they have the armory where they have the weapons on display. Those are the only times I've seen like armed. I'm assuming off-duty cops.
Security.
Yeah, exactly.
Security. Security. And I don't lie, we have to keep our people safe, because people,
Oh yeah,
tend to, I don't know, we tend to have people that don't respect the fact of what we do. And they think
right.
just because we're doing a strip tease, it entitles them to certain things.
Of
So, like,
course.
I would like to say, big shout out to the security crew at my show. They're
Yes.
always vigilant, always on the ball. Like, there was a small incident last year and nobody even knew what happened. I found out after the fact, and I was like, what? And somebody decided to get a little too happy, and
Mm.
somebody got removed, and then the girlfriend got mad, and it turned into a whole thing. And it
Mm.
was done so quietly that I didn't
Right.
find out until way after the fact. And I was like, I'm glad I didn't find out, because if I would have heard that, I'd be like, excuse me, y'all, let me just take a moment real quick to evict some
Right.
troublemakers. Like, what? But that's what I'm saying. Like, security team is so, so professional. Even at the pinups by the pool party that I host,
Yeah.
they're always on top of things. Like, they're always making sure everybody is safe, you know, especially with the amount of people at both shows, pool, especially because it's such a small space. Ooh, excuse
Mm-hmm.
me, hiccup. Um, and that we have a limit in there too, because
Yeah.
hashtag safety. Like, the pool can be dangerous if you have people roughhousing too much.
Mm.
Yeah.
So yeah.
For people who aren't familiar with pinups by the pool, can you give them a little synopsis of what exactly goes on?
Absolutely.
So it's on Friday night. It's kind of our like big kickoff thing. It's done by myself, and Phoebe Nix is our host, and it's a pinup contest, but make it nerdy. So what goes on is that a bunch of the performers,
Mhm.
including myself, will go around and hand out little tokens or like hair flowers and stuff to the people that we really like their costumes, and they can
Mhm.
compete. It's like an old school pinup contest in the sense of you showcase yourself, you do this, and then we let the crowd choose their favorites, and we let them do another task, and then we let the crowd choose that favorites. And if there's too much of a tie off, we tend to have a dance off, like in the best, funniest way possible. We'll pick the most random song for them to dance to. Um, and the audience gets to pick. So this is all audience participation, and there's usually obviously prizes for the winner. And it's interesting. I will say that it's so much fun.
Yes.
The people that have done mashups from I saw an Alien Queen pinup mashup
I saw that
at
one.
this you
Yes.
saw that one.
Yes, I saw
We
that one.
also
Yes.
had a guy that dressed up as the landlady from Kung Fu Hustle. And when I tell you he slayed and won that stuff, I was like, that's what I'm talking about. Because just like people think it's just because it's pinup, it's all femme, it does not
Mm-mm.
matter. I have to like
No.
stress that it does not matter, anything. Anybody can be a pinup. And
Right.
this past year, it was this lovely older lady who won. And she's like, I used to be a pinup back in the 60s and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, she was an
Yeah.
older woman and she lived
Yeah.
her best life. And I couldn't remember what her character was, but it was so well done. And she was so effervescent and living her best life. She cried. Never thought. I said,
Oh.
girl, age is nothing but a number, girl. And the audience loved you.
Right.
That's all that matters. So but it brings me joy to see people like embrace that nerdy side of also pinup. And because I'm telling you, that's another thing. I have some crazy mashups for pinups. I was just like, why is there a sexy Gyarados on my stage? I'm not even gonna ask why, but why?
I
Like,
mean,
what is happening?
look, the minute I saw General Akbar as a Playboy bunny, the it's a trap alien, I was like, okay,
Yep,
we've
welcome.
hit a moment.
We've seen it all.
Yeah,
We've
we've
seen it
seen it
all.
all. Like,
No,
it's a trap.
one thing I've learned about Dragon Con is you've never seen it all. You've
Nope.
never seen it all.
Just when you
Exactly.
think someone has hit the apex,
Yep.
Yes.
and you
Next
turn
year.
around the corner, it's like, what is happening?
Right.
Exactly.
No.
Even some
Exactly.
of the cults now.
Oh dear
Regarding
Lord.
so you're doing the two events, which are huge undertakings in and of themselves. And of course, you've got with the Glamour Geek Revue, 10 performers. We've already given a shout out to security, but I'm guessing that it takes a lot of people to make this happen. So I just wanted to give you time to sort of shout out your crew.
Yeah, so my stage ponies, they kind of change every year, but Sunny Midnight is the head pony. She always keeps everything in check. Sarah
Yes.
Joy, who is my stage manager, she has done nothing but be amazing and give me less stress in my life. Obviously the sound crew, the light crew, security, and honestly just the con chairs and the staff, like they've been nothing but super supportive with keeping this
Yeah.
running and making it better and better and better every year. um and as cheesy as this is, my hubby, because he
Mm.
puts up with my shenanigans every year when I decide to be like crazy manic person and gone for like 5 days. So, and like
But he
what?
does come to Dragon Con, right?
No, he does not.
Oh,
Oh.
okay.
No, he does not. And my
Mm.
mother-in-law, she helps with the kids, so she's like the biggest shout out. But no,
Oh.
he is he works for Pfizer as an engineer, so he doesn't really have a life. So he doesn't really get to come to things as much as I would like him to.
Gotcha.
But maybe one day I'll be able to drag him along. We'll see what happens.
So I'm just
Kidnapping.
curious, like, can you put a number on how many people it takes to put on this like incredible show? I imagine it's quite a lot.
Just for my crew, about 10.
Okay.
Just on my side.
Right.
That's
And then
including
that's
ponies,
in addition
poems.
to the 10 performers, right?
Yeah, so there's the 10
Yeah.
performers, the one headliner, me, my MC, the stage ponies, my stage manager. So that's a lot. It's a
Yeah.
lot
Absolutely.
going on.
Do you
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
can I ask, do you have all those slots filled as well, or are you looking for people to help out?
Oh, good
I
question.
have all the slots filled. The only one that I'm in negotiations with is some of the ponies.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to get schedules from them to see, because even though they're already there, they need to make sure that they don't have plans with somebody else that might have, went ahead and made plans,
Yeah.
before they wanted to reach out and do that. So that's pretty much it. I usually try and reach out to people early and they, give me a yay or nay. And then if I can't pull from my pool, so to speak, then
Mm-hmm.
I will probably go out to people that I know who have done it before, because the backstage of a burlesque show is not as plain cut and dry as people think it is. Would think it is. It's a lot of moving parts. So I try to keep it to people that have been in this industry long enough that can understand and handle the stress of what's going on back there.
Gotcha.
I would imagine it's just a wall, just a big ball of glitter just everywhere backstage
We
at a
try
show
not to
like
get
that.
glitter everywhere, because then they got to try and clean that up. Okay, we try
Right.
not that. But it is a lot of people back there getting all sparkly and pretty and claiming their spots, and then
Yeah.
people doing around and getting their tech notes and props. Props is a whole nother thing, you know. So like, there's a whole section just for that. So yeah, it's a lot going on back there.
Not just glitter, Channing. This is a classy thing that they put on. So it's diamonds and pearls all the way
Oh
back
It's
yeah,
there.
diamonds
diamonds,
and pearls.
pearls,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
rhinestones,
Yeah.
glitter. I mean, I've
The
seen props that were chairs fully rhinestoned. Like,
wow.
they come for throats every year. There's
Does
no
does
basic.
does Versace make pasties? They have the
I
real
don't know,
expensive
because if
ones.
they do, I'm the first one. I call dibs, man. Like, I want to be the promo spokesman. Versace, Versace.
Yeah, right. Versace. Yes, exactly. Any Versace reps who are listening, you know who to
Hi,
reach out
hello.
to.
Just saying,
So
I can make this happen.
once the work is done, once the
Hmm.
show is done, do you get a chance to enjoy the con and relax, or
Oh,
is
so I
it
have an
is it
exact layout of my day. So Sunday around 11, I hang out with people that have the time, and then somewhere
Hmm.
around 2, I sleep.
and
It's
I'm
your
and
recovery plan.
that's
And then somewhere around
that's
10 p.m., I will wake up and I will go to a few things, and I go back to sleep. And then I wake up on Monday and go home. I mean, there's a couple things I get to do. I know my friend wants me to be in the villains fashion show again.
Yeah.
So I might do that if I have the best one I can get. There's one that they want, but I don't know if I can fit it anymore. But I try to at least do that. Go to the vendor hall at least during that time.
Hmm.
As things like that, all the kind of fun stuff that I usually want to see is usually when I'm planning and trying to get things together with no drama. But Sunday I get to see some things, do some things, and then just kind of recuperate from the marathon.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
was imagining that. Do you even have time to even do any cosplay yourself?
So before I did, when I first started, and that was just not, it wasn't working. There was too much going on. So I'll just wear like some nerdy shirts, some jeans, some nerdy dresses. I might bring a cosplay on Sunday to walk around in. But like, this is the first con I don't really cosplay at, as funny as it is.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, you got a lot of work to do,
Yeah, I was
so
about to say. I
it's
think people will understand.
absolutely,
I try to
absolutely.
at least make some of the photo shoots, like the Black Geeks of Dragon Con, if I can,
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
nook it in. Like, my stage manager is great, so she tries to take some of that stress off of me, so I can at least do something fun, you
Mhm.
Yeah.
know. So, but I try. Sometimes I try.
Absolutely. Well, we definitely look forward to the upcoming announcements that you're going to make
Hmm. Hmm.
regarding the show this year. We will try to repost them and talk about them as they happen, as you announce them. So anything that we can help to promote that, just let us know.
Thank
And
you.
I think it's.
Actually, I was
Do
just
you have
gonna say
another good?
just a suggestion. The headliner would be a great announcement to make on our last episode before Dragon Con. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
When is the last episode hypothetically
Well,
for
if
Dragon
Jen
Con?
doesn't come back, this might be the last episode.
Oh wow, okay.
Just kidding. Just kidding. But no, we don't plan quite that far in advance. But yeah, we usually do at least one show in August, right? So
okay.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna end up announcing them the last weekend in July just to get the ball rolling. Yeah.
Hey, no pressure, just putting it out there.
I know, but if I do it later, I will keep Channing in the loop since he's one in my DMs with info.
Thank you for putting the info part in there because you made me sound real creepy there for a second.
No, it's like he likes to inform me when the photo shoots are. It's nothing sordid, you guys. He just makes sure I'm aware so that way if I have time, I will roll up in there and do it for the 99 and 2000s. That's all.
I was gonna say, is Channing sliding into DMs here?
With information.
With information, yes.
Okay, information. Gotcha.
May I do have one request. Mike and I need burlesque names.
What does your hat say, Mike?
This current fez says Sons of the Desert.
Is that a Shriner thing?
No, it is. Well, I mean, sort of. It's a play on a Laurel and Hardy short, a film where they were part of a lodge that they all wore her fezzes and they were all part of this group called the Sons of the Desert. So yeah, it's a reference to that.
All
right, you're Daddy Desert. Okay, Shannon, what you got for me?
Daddy Desert.
My shirt says surprisingly adequate. And I will say our mutual friend Mike, he did suggest the Velvet Vigilante.
You know what? I don't hate it. I don't hate that. All right. You know what? I don't know.
Have a little ski mask. It'll be like a cape, be like a superhero.
Oh my God, not the ski mask. Jesus.
Okay, maybe not a ski mask. But, yeah, okay. But definitely a cape.
This ain't the 80s, the 90s hip hop where you're like on the album, like doing this and like whatever. Like, I'm going to think on them. I'm going to think on both of them really hard and then I'm going to send them to Channing.
Yeah, good. We appreciate that.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, cool. Well, it's been awesome having you back on the show. Thanks for giving us your time again. And I know as the next few months happen, it's going to be a lot happening, a lot to do. Because it comes fast, doesn't it? Like It's just, I can't believe we're at the end of April already. So
it's pretty much May for me. Like, and I'm just like,
Right.
Absolutely. Well, we wish you well, and yes, you are always welcome back.
All right, thank you guys. And like I said, if it pops off later, I'll let y'all know.
Absolutely. And before we leave, where can people go to find out more information about you personally, and as well, of course, about the Dragon Con Burlesque?
Dragon Con Burlesque. We have a page on Facebook, Dragon Con Burlesque, and we also have an Instagram that is Dragon Con Burlesque. We are so imaginative. For me, I'm on all socials, Instagram, Facebook, stuff like that as the Mayhemmer, which is in my right here. The blurred waifu was just for me because I am a blurred. And I'm your favorite waifu. No, and then I have a website. It's www.mayhemmer.com, which is in current updates because of all the stuff I have done and will be doing. So I'm in the whole like updating process. But there are ways to connect with me on there as well.
Awesome. All right. And so without further ado, we're drawing a close to this episode of the 2025 Dragon Con Report. Again, thanks, May, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Big shout out to our station crew. Thank you, Channing.
Always fun to do it. And May, we don't get to talk enough. It's a pleasure.
I know. We're going to have to make time at Dragon Con this year. We have to make time.
Yes, we'll find it. Well, when I sneak into Burlesque, I'll just also sneak backstage and we can hang out then.
That's not going to hang. That ain't going to work well for you. I'm going to tell you right now. You're going to
got to test security. Yeah, exactly.
We'll find time. We'll find time.
Yeah, we'll figure something out offline. Yeah, and anybody who's looking for me, I'm Channing Sherman on pretty much all of the platforms. And as always, you can check out my group, the Black Geeks of Dragon Con, on Facebook. It is not a protest; it is a party. And if you're lucky, you may see May out there representing for the 99 and the 2000s.
Nice. And even though she's here, she's notably absent. But Jen, we appreciate you. I hope you feel better, and we really miss your magic on both sides of the webcam here. So, for those people who want to follow her group, it's the DragonCon Parties, Meetups, and More group on Facebook. So check that out because I think they are starting to publish some things as well on that group because things are starting to happen. As May pointed out, it's almost May. So we try to cover all we can with these episodes, but to keep up with the latest news, please check out the official DragonCon websites, their social media outlets. All the fan tracks are active on Facebook and various social media outlets as well. We're a proud member of the ESO Network. On the esonetwork.com page, there's a direct link to our TeePublic store filled with all kinds of cool swag, including a very cool design for the DragonCon Report podcast. The ESO Network also has a Patreon page where you can access exclusive readings of this month's DragonCon guest announcements. And yes, without Jen, this month is going to be even more brutal. But thank you, patrons.
Apologize now.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, patrons, for all your support. Whether you're watching or listening to us, please help support our show with a like, subscribe, and a share. If you want to leave us direct feedback or let Jen know exactly how well we did, and I put that in quotes, well, please send an email to feedback@dragonconreport.com or reach out to us via Facebook and Instagram. Thanks, everyone, for joining us.
Surprisingly adequate.
I'm your host, Mike Gordon, and as always, it's been my pleasure. Take care, stay safe, and we will see you all at the con.
Later, folks.
You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.